Hello, Geneva. My name is Mayor Kevin Burns, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to a new edition of Business Beat. I am joined by the President and Chief Executive Officer of Burgess Norton, Mr. Brett Vasseur. Brett, thank you. Good to see you again.
Great to be here.
We are in the hallowed halls of one of Geneva's, if not the oldest continuous manufacturing facility in the city of Geneva, Burgess Norton. It's 108 years old.
110
years old, forgive
1903.
me. 1903, isn't that amazing? And Brett's been CEO since 1908. So he looks great. You're as good as the products you produce.
Perfect, yes.
And what a lot of folks don't know, but I tend to brag about when I'm speaking to different groups, is that I will say to folks, did you know that the world's largest producer of piston pins is located right here in Geneva, Illinois, and that's Burgess Norton? That's amazing. It's amazing. So Brett, you've been CEO for how many years?
7 years now.
7 years.
Right.
And you came into this organization via, I think, one of the Amstead families, is that right?
Absolutely. Actually, I started with Amstead back in 1982, so that dates me a little bit.
It does.
I spent about 17 years with Amstead, and actually left through an acquisition. I took another opportunity, kind of separated for about 6 years, and then actually came back.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I was with Diamond Chain as president down there in Indianapolis for about a year and a half, and the last 7 years.
I know of Burgess Road. I know of Burgess Field at the high school.
Correct.
I know of the Burgess Norton plant. But a lot of folks who have been here for a long time, they know of Burgess Norton because of the facilities here on Peyton Street and on Western Avenue. But a lot of folks don't know exactly what it is you produce.
Right.
So if you could share with us, that'd be fascinating.
Sure. We actually have two product lines. Okay, one of them is piston pins, which this facility is primarily 100% dedicated to piston pins. We have another piston pin facility in Mexico, one in Italy, and two in China.
Wow.
But if you go back just 5 years ago, we had one facility in Geneva and one in Claremore, Oklahoma. So our growth has really been international on the piston pin side of the business. But what's really unique about that is that as we've established these presence in the international markets, about 40% of the product that's sold in those regions is produced and shipped out here.
Right here.
So we're kind of the reverse of what you hear a lot of companies doing to establish business in an international location, where it's reverse. A lot of times it'll come back in, particularly with China. Great threat to this business from the people side. People thought, we've opened our first facility in China, oh my gosh, my job's going away. Sure. And it's done just the opposite.
That's impressive.
The volume and the scale that we produce here gives us actually the lowest cost producer in the world.
That's amazing.
Very unique position.
So homegrown.
Homegrown.
Not only American made, Geneva made.
And we've added probably in the last 5 years another 25% of our employees, and all those employees are supporting international business.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, I heard a statistic that you shared that somewhere in the neighborhood of 62 million piston pins are manufactured here.
That's correct, every year.
Is that amazing?
And that actually fulfills about 85% of the demand for the 15 to 15.5 million vehicles that are sold in North America. So we're supplying all of those products. This is a typical, very small automotive pin. A lot of precision in this to make this. This is considered a precision component. And it's the core of the engine. The actual piston rod, and piston pin are the core of the engine, and that's where the design of an engine starts. The high compression and the performance all comes out of the pin. It starts here.
So I go to my mechanic, and my mechanic says, that's a Burgess Norton product.
Yes.
Is there a signature on this product that people know it's Burgess Norton?
No, there's not.
There's not.
There's really not. But
the quality is second
I would like to say that the quality and the performance of the product is.
Yeah.
And today, one of our logos that we keep on a lot of our information says that basically today we're powering over 125 million vehicles globally.
That's amazing.
Right now, at any
125 million.
And that number's growing.
That's pretty much the average vehicles that are on State Street between 5 and 7 p.m.
Exactly.
Isn't that amazing? So you're the cause of all the congestion.
We are.
Fantastic. That's a new byline.
Second product line is powdered metal.
That's really interesting.
And this product basically is manufactured at the other facility here.
On Western Avenue.
On Western Avenue in Geneva. And we have a second facility in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Now, these products are, again, primarily we service the automotive industry.
Okay.
But we service agriculture, off-road equipment.
Got it.
We have quite a few parts that go into lawn and garden. For
No
example, Toro and Honda for everything from weed eaters to snowblowers
Really?
to snowmobiles.
So when I'm mowing my lawn this weekend and I start to lose my mind, I can use your name in vain?
It could be part of the problem.
That's awesome.
So this is a really unique product. Okay.
That is unique.
And it's actually made of powdered metal.
Okay.
It's actually atomized from a melting process, and then that powder is brought back to get together to be stamped and pressed into a very unique configuration. Much cheaper than machining it. Okay. It has a little bit lower strength and density, but there are many applications, and the technology is growing to continue to penetrate that. We doubled the size of our facility.
I know.
And our operations over here.
Very impressive.
We're doing a doubling of our plant in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin right now.
Amazing.
We just acquired adjacent property, so business is doing well. And this is another unique piece at the facility here in Geneva. We make a component for a transmission for General Motors and several other OEMs.
Okay.
That these transmission components have to be stamped with the largest press that is manufactured.
I was hoping you'd talk
in the
about
world.
that, yeah.
Okay. It's a very unique size press. It's about 1,600 tons.
The largest press in the world.
It is manufactured. We have 2 of those
Right.
in Plant 2 over here, and we have 2 1,000-ton presses.
That's amazing.
And it's the only place in the world where you'll find 4 of them sitting side by side.
Isn't that amazing? The only place in the world. So when I cruise by the plant on Western Avenue, and I was a kid, I used to cut through your parking lot.
Okay.
You can't do that anymore, of course. But there's a bump up
Yep.
on the roof of your plant.
That's
and that
correct.
bump up is there to accommodate the size of this press.
That's correct. That's correct.
And as I understand it, the press is some 35 feet
It is in total.
in total.
Yeah,
And much of
huge.
it's in
Much
the
of
ground.
The majority of it's underground.
Isn't that wild? So you take these parts, the powder metal,
Right.
and they are stamped at that plant on Western Avenue.
That's correct.
So how many trucks
Stamped,
a day?
stamped, heat treated, finished, whatever we need.
All
to do.
that stuff, based on the specs from the companies.
Trucks a day. Good question. I'm going to say probably 20.
Is that right?
Yeah, quite a few.
And they're going all over the world.
All over the place.
Unbelievable.
We right now, go back just a few years ago, probably only 2% of our product shipped internationally.
Yeah.
Today, from that facility in the Beaver Dam, it's over 15%.
Is that right?
Again, a lot of our growth has been international.
Okay.
And this is a product that's highly engineered, highly technical, and that is actually our strategy. We don't deal with any commodity items. We don't do anything that's really low technology
Okay.
that 15 other people. We try to pick parts that either the number 1, number 2, or number 3 player in the world could produce, and that's what we try to produce.
Now there's a parallel here. Brett arrived 7 years ago. International sales have exploded. Clearly, your leadership is making the difference.
Well, I'd like to think that's a piece of it.
I think you should stick with that. That's awesome. Now, something else I thought was fascinating. So I'm driving my Ford. I'm driving other products, GM products. Key components are
Absolutely.
manufactured here.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And you and I have talked about this before. The perception of, quote, working in a factory has changed over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're looking for talented individuals.
We are, and that is something that really has evolved.
Right.
And we kind of address this differently with what we call our people strategy in
Right.
terms of our overall business strategy is around growth, innovation, okay, and operational excellence, but it's all supported by people.
Right.
And if you look at the number of skilled trades that we've introduced because of the type of product that
Right.
we manufacture, it's been accelerating.
It's amazing.
Over time. So these are everything from SPC type of software people all the way to, again, tons and tons of engineers. We talked about this the last time we were together. To think that in a facility like this, where globally we employ about 1,200 people, that we have 20 open requisitions for skilled people, talented engineers almost at any time.
Is that right?
And our turnover and growth of our hourly workforce is moving from what you said is just kind of it's not a factory worker anymore.
Right.
It's got to be a technically competent
It's skilled
people.
laborers.
In Plant 2, we touched on that as well, that we actually now have gone from about 12, let's just say, pure technicians, and that facility now probably employs about 40
Is that right?
locations.
That's amazing.
And the way that we get there with these people is also kind of interesting. When we bought these, high-tech, high-tonnage presses, supporting them from the supplier, the vendor, has been very difficult. You get a downtime, you have an issue.
Sure.
If something goes wrong, again, a lot of new technology means you're a little bit of the guinea pig.
Right.
So the guy running the plant over there, Jeff Ivanoff, made the decision, the only way to deal with this is we're going to build that skill set internally.
Fantastic.
So we went to their engineer training schools in Germany.
Is that right?
We've been around the world for pump manufacturing, hydraulics, and we've taken our hourly and our engineering workforce, and we have at least 3 or 4 of them on every single shift, and they're fully skilled in
Unbelievable.
running. We have more trained technicians to operate those pieces of equipment than the manufacturer does.
Is that right? And you talk about people.
Right.
You talk about shifts. It's my understanding that we're operating here 3 shifts.
We run 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
And some of the areas we are running right now 7 days a week.
Unbelievable. Just to meet demand.
Just to meet the demand. We put some significant investments in here.
You sure did.
A little bit over a year ago.
And I love the new color of the building.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Kudos to Rita Seiler for choosing the color.
Excellent. Yeah, it does look a lot better.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
but it's a neighborhood manufacturing facility that helped build the neighborhood.
It is.
That's what's so cool.
And it's kind of interesting. We had some customers in last week, and they were driving through the State Street and make the turn to head down to the plant, and they're like, "My gosh, this is a beautiful place. Where are we going?"
Exactly.
Well, we're going to our office, and they're, "Oh, okay, it's an office." And they come in, they thought, "Well, the office isn't really beautiful," but then they realized this was the plant.
Isn't that
They're
amazing?
just shocked that it's in the center of a residential area.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And you can cooperate with the residents as well as we have, and the city, and things seem to be working very well.
Now, I think historically speaking, what's most special about Burgess Norton is the fact that your employees are indeed a family.
They are.
I mean, I can remember going to the picnics as a young man.
Right.
I had friends of my father who, worked here for years, and there's something unusually special about the Burgess Norton people.
Right, right. And over the last 50 to 60 years, that really has developed past that family atmosphere into us being part of Amstead Industries. And we're part of Amstead Industries. We are actually an ESOP. So we are an employee-owned organization. So that makes a huge difference here. It actually makes it that our profitability for not only Burgess Norton but Amstead is redistributed back to the employees, and every employee gets an equal share of ownership in the program based upon compensation, but it's an equal share of ownership in the company and a distribution to that every single year.
I mean, it's the quintessential example of sweat equity.
It is. It
That's
absolutely
incredible.
is. And that was the concept behind creating an ESOP and a subchapter S corporation. Years ago, is you could take smaller businesses, basically take a group of 4 or 5 people, bring them in, return the profits back to the employees in terms of retirement benefits. It's put into a retirement account. And then you feel like you're really working for yourself. It's been expanded over time, and now you have companies like Amstead that are one of the largest ESOPs. It just creates tremendous loyalty from your employees. Our turnover is small.
That's amazing.
Our commitment to the people and developing them is a huge piece of that, as well as the fact that they get a very nice retirement plan that they don't have to pay a penny into.
Isn't that something?
It's excellent.
Any job openings for knuckleheads like me?
We might be able to find something. I know that the girl at the front desk was thinking about maybe doing something different.
Excellent. I'm in. Call it a day. Let's go check out some interesting places here at Burgess Norton so that you get a better feel for exactly what is made here and how it's made.
Constantly.
This is an older card former, this is the newest investment. What is going on is you've got the wire that's loaded onto it. There's a series of 6 stations. The easiest way to explain it is you got hammers pounding that. Something solid and something cylindrical and very close up the next one. And right now that one's actually pounding out parts. You can hear the noise. And you can feel on the floor what one person operates this? One person operates one of those. So what he does is he'll actually operate the machinery. Right now we're redoing the track, but the parts will come out on this side, so we check the quality also, so we wash the parts also.
That's amazing. That's cool.
We actually have plans next year. One of the things we'd like to do is rearrange this whole dock area for our material receiving and flow.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if you have gotten any of the feedback, but we're actually looking at want to make addition on the building.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the whole idea there is we're going to build with our coating supplier a factory in a factory.
Is that right?
Yeah. It'll be the only one of its kind in the world.
That's amazing. Just look at the size of that thing.
Well, there's a lot underground too.
Yeah. This furnace allows you to dunk underground into a quench pit, and it also allows you to air cool on the other side. So there's 2 rows of parts parts going through.
So the metallurgy of the part is changing, but when it comes through, then it gets an air quench as well as an oil quench. And how deep does that go?
About 12 feet.
So how new is this machine?
Oh, it's not.
Actually, the one you're looking at, we're working on right now, is our oldest one. The newest one's the very first one.
Is that right?
And I think the first, that's about 10, 15 years old.
Yeah.
So the frame of the machine remains, the technology changes,
All the time.
and you adapt accordingly.
Right.
We do.
And then every 6 months, we actually go through and we do a PM like we're doing right now.
Okay.
Where we'll replace key components and then keep it going.
It's like working out when you get older.
It is. And we do. We keep the maintenance up on them, but in terms of the actual gases and the, let's just say the infrastructure of it, they're changing all the time.
Unbelievable.
Changes all the time based upon the chemistry of the material, the development of raw materials and how they change. We have to change our processes and inject new technology into them to keep up with the requirements of ever-changing material demands.
The last year, this has had about $95,000 in capital put into it.
Is that right?
Yeah, with the one unit that they're putting in over here, plus all updated controls.
Sounds like my pharmacist. Now with this heat wave we're experiencing, does anything change at all in terms of your manufacturing process?
Not really, because these are operating at about 1,600 degrees in temperature.
Got it.
One of the things that you have to worry about is humidity.
Okay.
We are dealing with steel.
Now in the old days, of course, you open the ceilings up for the fresh air, but you still do the same thing.
You do the same thing. We also have fans. We also have some coolers mounted.
Got it. It is remarkably, but not surprisingly clean. And that's important, though.
It is, I would say it's no comparison to our newer facilities.
Yeah.
Our newer facilities don't look like this at all.
This is impressive.
This is, again, it's been added on to probably 10 times. So the flow is not as good as we would like to, but we do a little bit of improvement with that every year.
With better flow, you got better efficiency, you get better.
What we're doing here is we're actually checking the internals on the part. We're checking the externals for nicks. You don't want to nick in your engine. And then we'll also check the internal, make sure all the metallurgical properties are there.
So these here were kicked out because they weren't.
Right, because of the eddy current actually found some kind of surface defect.
So we've kind of taken you through the operation. We actually walked over to the initiating operation, where you take a raw steel that's coming off of a soil stock, through a series of dies, cut it off, and then we shape it and actually create the passageway through the part so that it becomes a hollow part. So it's actually formed a very precise set of tools and dies to get it to about 50% of the final finished stage of the part. From there, we walk you through just basically the heat treatment location, which changes the chemistry. Then after the chemistry, we do in-finishing to make sure the contours are right on the pin and they fit perfectly inside of a piston. And then we bring them to the finishing operation. This is what you see here. Probably the most important step in the process within the stitching operation. And it is what just talked to you there. A whole series of grinders that finish the pin and take it from a nice finish on a pin, oversimplifying it, to a mirror finish, which you have on your mirror in your bathroom. Okay? And the whole idea is it moves through every single step after an extrudement. The quality checks are going on. They're being documented and recorded for every part on every day and every hour where the part is running. It's necessary for the automotive industry to have 100% traceability where a product is. And if anything's wrong with the pin, it kicks it out, it gets collected, our quality team will come back and make sure that we understand what the problem with the pin is, because we do not do any inspection of the product. None. We inspect the process. So we drive the quality into the process, not into the product, by inspecting it. We don't want to have high scrap rate at the end of the line.
So will this ultimately be reprocessed?
It would either be reprocessed or probably scrapped. But again, our scrap rate, because our process control, that we don't let something move from point A to B without being correct, it helps us reduce our downstream scrap to a tremendous level. And if you go back over time, you could probably come in here 15 years ago, and our scrap rates were probably double digits, 10%. They're below 1%.
Is that right?
World class. Our PPMs are well below 5, below 25 is considered
Below
world class.
1.
Absolutely.
Again, thanks to you.
No, thanks to guys like this that know what they're doing.
That's awesome.
So, it kind of gives you a feel, and you can see here that everything is finally boxed and packaged. Some customers have their own packaging requirements because they're going to take them out, they're going to put them into their line in a certain sequence and volume. So we customize our packaging to whatever basically they need. And again, we typically, this is the shipping area over here, you see, extremely small for a reason. What gets put into that area typically ships out within 2 days. We don't keep anything at all. We don't carry any finished goods. It's a true just-in-time sequence.
Just in time.
We get releases from the OEMs, the Ford, GM, Chrysler, Honda, Toyota. We get releases from them, and they give us planning orders, and then basically, typically, let's just say on Monday, they firm up the exact quantity they're going to pick up on Thursday.
It wasn't that many years ago when just in time was new. Now it's standard.
Our sequence today versus the past, we make a raw material order that gets received in the door and it gets shipped out within typically 3 weeks. Now that cycle used to be 60 to 70 days. Now it's inside of 30 days.
All within a 108-year-old building.
Exactly.
I like it. Fantastic.
Look at that. Thank you, sir.
So one of those pins falls on the floor, that's it. You don't use them.
We don't want to risk that.
You don't want to risk it. Okay, so it's quote contaminated.
Yeah. and
Okay.
that's- We normally produce close to about 46 million pins a year here.
So it's almost like a surgeon dropping a scalpel. It's like, okay, that's no good.
Correct.
Bingo.
Correct. That's-
Well, actually, our forecast for 14 is 62 minutes.
Oh, 14. Yeah. I was thinking just
It's amazing. That's so cool.
So, all
thank
right,
you so
gentlemen,
much.
it's a pleasure.
That's awesome.
Glad you
Thank
can come by today.
Yeah, it was fun. And continue the good work.
We will.
Thanks for everything
We
you
will.
do.
We will.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Anything else?